I like, click, subscribe, do all that. You already know what time it is. It's Netflix time. We're gonna get it popping with a new series called Vincenzo. This story is about a lawyer that takes a visit to his homeland, who happens to be part of a Korean-Italian mafia. And he's out to give an unrivaled conglomerate a taste of their own medicine with a side of justice. And I will be covering all 20 episodes. We're gonna start with episode 1. It goes without saying, spoiler alert, let's get it. So right off the back, it starts off with Vincenzo looking at this building, talking about he's gonna tear this shit down. And then you see the destruction, it's being laid to waste. At least that's what he plans on doing anyway. But anyway, that's the plan. He's lying back in his bed in Italy at this point in time. And as we established earlier, he's a lawyer for the Italian mafia. So he has one of his servants picks him up, and they go out to this vineyard as you see this plane flying around. They get to the front gate protected by guys with guns, and he rolls in and have a conversation with this guy by the name of Emilio. So apparently before his boss died by the name of Fabio, who actually died the same day, he had one mission: to take back the vineyard. But Emilio wasn't trying to sign, he ain't trying to have none of it. Vincenzo gives him one more time to sign on the dotted line. Emilio says get the fuck out of here with that, and on top of that calls him yellow, just straight disrespecting him. You know our man Vin ain't gonna tolerate that shit. So as he's leaving, that plane that was flying in earlier was a couple of planes that are actually filled with kerosene. Emilio thought it was for the crops, but he was like, man, we did that shit last week. My man pulls out his lighter, and the whole shit burns faster than the Fantastic Four character. Yeah, his vineyard is beyond fucked. Let you know up front, Vin don't play around with that shit. So anyway, he goes back to the council and pays his respects to Fabio. And has a conversation with his son Paolo. And Paolo's still hating because Fabio named Vin the chief over top of all them niggas. So later on, while Vin's trying to get some well-deserved rest, some gunmen come in at night to try to assassinate him. They thought they got the drop on him, but my man's too smart and gangster for that shit. Look at him, done deal dead. With a smile on his face, letting him know they ain't shit. So as Paolo's getting out the car, he gets a phone call from Vin, man. He knows that Paolo's the one that sent the goons over. And then he blows up his car like, oh shit. Tells him next time you pull some shit like that, I'll make sure you're still in the car when it happens. As he's telling him this, he's on a plane heading to Korea. Because he's got a mission to take care of. That building that exploded, that wanted to explode at the beginning of the episode, yeah, that's where he's going to go to. Then it cuts to this lawyer named Cha. She's supposed to be defending this guy named Seon because a while ago he tampered with some pharmaceuticals or something like that, but it accidentally ended up killing some people. But like I said, the incident was an accident and she's representing them in court. So she gets to the court, wins her case, and the person she's going against in court is a guy by the name of Lee Chan. Why is that important? Because Lee Chan is actually her biological father. They have this funny segment about abandonment and how she fake cries to get his attention and stuff. But he ain't falling for that shit. Trust me, the scene's hilarious. Vin finally makes it to Korea and this guy checks him to make sure his passport's good. Then he trusts his limousine driver to give him a ride to where he needs to go. He gets him settled and gives him a bottle of water in the car. They're listening to the news and they hear about fake cab drivers that drug their patients just to steal their money and take passports and stuff like that, right? And guess what? This cab driver just happens to be one of them as Vin passes out in the car. Then at this Korean police station, you got everybody running amok. They're hearing about all these murder stories. This one particular police officer looks up a file on our man Vin stating that he's in Korea. So he gets all worked up to tell his superior officer, but the chief don't care about that. He thinks Vin's there for just recreational purposes. Meanwhile, Child's dealing with her boss has a successful day in court. And he gives her a raise. Obviously, he likes her. Then we go back to these niggas robbing Vin as he finally comes out of his coma. They stuck him for everything, got him laid out. He didn't even care about the money stolen, but he's pissed off because they took his watch. Yeah, he's pissed off and you know he's gonna get it back eventually. So at this point, he's gotta ride the bus to get to his destination. And he finally gets to the Plaza building. Then we get a flashback to his boss and Mr. Cho. Mr. Cho's the guy with the glasses. So why is this simple building so important? Because in the basement, it contains 15 tons of gold. So back in real time, Mr. Cho pops up to greet Vin as this random guy spies on him, but we find out he actually lives in the building. And Mr. Cho takes him on a tour. First, he takes him to the apartment where he's going to be staying at. He knows it's raggedy, but he's like, he ain't going to be staying there for long. Meanwhile, in one of the rooms, we find out Mr. Lee Chan also stays there too. And he basically shows him all the tenants that are staying in the building. One particular spot they come to is reserved as a Buddhist temple room. Why is this room more specified than others? Because it's the only room that leads right to the basement with the 15 tons of gold. So after a while, he goes to the tailor room to get his suit worked on. He keeps talking about, man, this material cheap. Obviously, he's messing with him, but it's hilarious. So after he does this, he gets to meet all the tenants at the same time who can't say his name properly. The one chef they had claimed to be Italian too, but you'll see later on, he's basically a con artist. Later on, he tries to take a shower. The hot water keeps fucking up. He's trying to get some sleep, but a freaking bird keeps tapping on the glass. Then it gets serious when he starts reading his old appeal letter. Then he has a flashback about this lady that was sent to jail. Not exactly sure who she is, but she used to be a maid. And she was on trial for killing her boss. He happened to be in a courtroom at the time, but not as a lawyer. He was a spectator. We don't know what happened, but she was definitely found guilty. And she never got a retrial. Then we got this scene where this one lady's dancing. These other guys are taking pictures of her. So like, that's sexual harassment. I can see everything you're doing. Now help me clean these goddamn clothes. Later on in the day, Vin goes to this guy's restaurant Tells him he can fix this wonderful dish. He says it tastes like it came out the trash can, but at least you respected me to take the maggots off of it. And he caught you in a lie when you said you was from Italy. But Vin ain't gonna fuck with you, cause you small fry. Then we get a scene where he's in front of a jail. But in the distance we see Lee Chan going inside. He goes inside to see the lady we saw in the flashback. She's been there for like 5 years now. He's trying to do everything he can to get a retrial because he knows the shit is messed up. But she's like, don't even bother. I've done too many bad things. I'll atone for my sins here. But of course that's not gonna stop him from trying. So we get this scene where Vin and Cho meet up, but they meet up in the office about selling the property. This dude thinks he's giving him a serious number to give it up, but he doesn't know about the gold they got under there, so they look at him like, man, get the fuck out of here. The guy kind of threatens him a little bit, and we all know Vin don't take kindly to threats. So this next scene, everybody's in the dance studio, and Vin's trying to gain everybody's trust. He's gonna let them know that everybody's safe. We're gonna buy the building out and make sure nobody else comes in and terrorizes. So everybody puts their trust in Vin, but Lee Chan's skeptical from him right from the jump, because he knows he works for quote-unquote rich people. Boy, Lin Chan, if you only knew. Later that night, Cho goes back to his house, and he gets attacked unexpectedly. His wife and daughter all tied up and shit, and this asshole threatens Cho. So he got to sign over the deed. So not to put his family in jeopardy, he has no choice. He signs it over to him. That guy's not really the man in charge. He works for somebody bigger. Meanwhile, Cha gets a notice in the mail from her father, officially disowning her for real this time. So she's like, Dad, what in all of the fuck are you doing? He's like, yeah, I got it done for real this time. This is what you wanted, right? He's like, Dad, you're not just gonna keep me out the will. Like, come on, get it together. They had this big ass argument. Back at the apartment, Vin's pissed off at the tailor because he shrunk his damn suit. He's like, you know what? I don't even know why I'm even getting mad at you. Then he gets a phone call from Cho. Cho tells him about the situation and signing over the deed. He had no choice because his family was getting in trouble or whatever. Then all of a sudden, a truck comes out of nowhere and crushes the fuck out of him. I'm like, God damn. See that? Lifted his car off the ground. Alright, so remember when I was talking about the guy that made Cho sign over the deed? Here comes his boss. This guy in a beige suit. Apparently he works for the Babel E&C company, but I guess he has quote-unquote mafia ties too. He basically tells him he got the deed and he running shit. But he's gonna make sure everybody is well compensated. Then this guy gets to the front acting like he gonna do something like he tough, but really all he wanted to do was just let him move aside so he can go to the bathroom. So at this point, looking like they just go throw their weight around against Lee Chan and the crew. But then all of a sudden, here come our man Vin with a fresh new suit. He ain't playing no shit. He's like, look here, we taking the building back and that's the bottom line. My man gets in his face and his clown ass gets rectified quick. So we get to Vin's face, it's like, all right, let's talk business. But Vin just chops him straight in his throat. He only hit him one time, but chopped him in his throat and hit his nose at the same time. Then he gets a tape measure, wraps his arm up, and hangs him out the fucking window. It's like, hey, I'm taking this shit back. Bottom line, you don't fuck with Vincenzo. And that's how the first episode went down. Boy. Like I said, I'm gonna do all 20 episodes. This shit is well worth it. Slick DZ out the easy, missed us. Ow, big. Could've got the slogan.